Yo guys, I'm back at it now. The topic of this video, guys, is going to be about reality is kept a secret. This is actually so true, guys, that reality is kept a secret. This is so true. I actually want to really get into this a lot, and I actually do talk about this a lot in my other videos, how a lot of our world gets hidden away from us. We actually live in a very like false reality. We live in a world that's like very delusional, that's not really reflecting the truth. And there's so many different examples to use to kind of help you explain what I'm talking about. For example, you go onto the telly and you get told, like, you look at a bunch of news outlets, you go onto different news channels, whatever, they give you a very specific interpretation of like what's happening in our world. For example, you look at the Middle East and you're probably going to be looking at, you're probably going to be hearing a lot about terrorism and all that stuff, even though that's only particular for certain like Middle Eastern countries. Not all Middle Eastern countries are like in turmoil. So you can see where I'm going with this, that if you go into the telly, your mind and your mentality can get very wrongfully shaped and molded to see things in a very specific, like limited, interpreted way. Damn, it feels good to be back out and making these types of videos, guys. I always love making these sorts of videos outside. It's such a big, sometimes it's like, gets very difficult because certain people look at you funny, I don't know. Anyway, I'm back at it though, guys. Look at the nice atmosphere. Got like the leaves on the ground. It's probably going to be like a winter soon. It's actually November right now while I'm filming this video, but you know, December, where it's like literally at the end of the year now. It's probably going to have like a lot of there's probably going to be a lot of like snow probably that might be coming around. It's definitely getting a lot more gloomier and darker and stuff like that. It's definitely getting a lot more gloomier and darker. I actually want to like talk about this now. That a lot of like we live in like reality is kept a secret. I honestly do think so, guys, that we don't really even get given the truth at all regarding our world and like what's actually going on and stuff like that. We always get given like a false information. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean by that? This relates to so many different things. If you think I'm lying, guys, look into like the history of like propaganda, how it was used historically to manipulate the masses. And you guys think that propaganda, they stopped using that? Obviously not. They still use it and all that type of stuff. It was like used historically, and it's still sort of like being used. Propaganda and all that type of stuff. They still, if you think about it, we typically think about like things like propaganda and all that type of stuff. We see it in like a very historical way. It was something that was used historically. It's not really relevant right now. Actually, guys, it's still very much relevant, guys. A lot of what you get given regarding like information and all that type of stuff, it all comes from, it's basically propaganda. A lot of what we think is the truth is actually propaganda. It's so weird, isn't that weird? A lot of what we get given, guys, a lot of what we get given, it's like propaganda and stuff like that. A lot of what we get given, it's like it's not even the truth, it's propaganda. Reality is kept a secret. I 100% think so, man. 100% I think so, guys. That reality actually literally is not, we always get given like false information, propaganda basically. And guys, do you really, well actually I want to really talk about propaganda, guys. Do you really think that propaganda is only something that was used historically, it's no longer relevant? Obviously it's still used today. It's just that it's used in a lot more in a much more tame way. Man, probably gonna muffle the audio. I gotta get a wind filter for my GoPro, something similar. Damn, man, the wind's gonna mess it all up. Damn, look at that freshness, man. Look at the autumn leaves, man. That looks so sick. Look at that freshness, man. Anyway, the wind's gonna ruin this audio, the audio experience of this video. Well, guys, do you think that if you think about propaganda, we always think about it in like a very distant, something that was used historically. It's not used anymore in the modern times. Guys, it's very much used still today. Propaganda is still utilized. It's still used, just as it was used in World War II and all these other sorts of historical time periods. It's still used today, guys. Propaganda is still very much relevant. It's still influencing everything so drastically and all that type of stuff, man. It's still used today, man, I swear. That still propaganda and all that type of stuff is still very much used. It's just in a much more tamer way. In a lot more, it's used now in a much more tamer, more passive, like less aggressive way, but it's still used nonetheless. I'll give you an example of like propaganda. You know, like when you go onto the telly and stuff like that, you see like a very you obviously see a lot of different things when you're on the telly. It's even, well, do people like still use that anymore? To the telly, I think that most people go on YouTube now, man. I don't think people watch things on the TV now anymore at all. I think that's pretty much now only TV is pretty much going out of fashion now. I think pretty much most people go on YouTube now. I think most people like go on YouTube now and stuff like that. I don't really go on anything on the TV at all. I don't think so. But still, if you go into if you still watch TV, you still see like advertisements and all that type of stuff. That's basically, you always get shown like advertisements, certain like images and all that type of stuff on the TV. Why do you think people, they show you these very specific advertisements and images when you go on the TV? It's all like a part of like manipulating your psychology. It's all about like manipulating your psychology and all that type of stuff, like molding your psyche so that you get convinced to buy the product that they're selling. That is like a type of propaganda that's used to manipulate your psychology. What does the word propaganda even mean? Basically, to put it into my own words, propaganda is basically, it's all about just manipulating your psychology, and that's still going on today, guys. If you go on the TV, the telly, if you go on YouTube, your psychology, like, why do you think that you get shown like very specific like images and like advertisements when you're on TV, on the telly, or on YouTube, or on whatever? Shit, man. Nasty ass leaves, man, on my legs. Why do you think that you get shown like very specific images? It's because they're trying to manipulate your psychology, guys. It's still going on today. Reality is kept a secret. Look at that, man. That looks so like wonderful. Doesn't that look so pretty, guys? The scenery and all that stuff. Reality, guys, is kept a secret. They deliberately, I do think so, guys, that a lot of our information that we get given, it's all like basically propaganda. It's all like just very heavily like tainted and specifically made just so that we see the world in a very specific way. Reality is actually, I do think so, it's kept a secret, guys. I think so, 100%. I don't think we know half the truth regarding our world and its politics and its affairs and all that type of stuff. I think that we always see things in like a very specific, like limited, tainted way. I don't think that we even see things as they actually are very properly, and I think so. I think that we see things in like a very like tainted way, basically. And so so basically, what are you getting at? That reality is kept a secret. I think so, guys. Now we always get lied to, basically. They give us like false information on the TV and on news and on YouTube and all that type of stuff. It's all just like propaganda that they throw at your face, and you think it's like the truth, basically. And that relates to so much, man. I think so. That reality is kept a secret. Obviously, you know, on my videos I talk about the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the oligarchs, the elites. These people, obviously, they know about how to manipulate the human psyche. They know like the ins and outs of our brains and how they can make things work in a specific way. They know all of our like psychology and stuff. They know how to manipulate us perfectly. So do you really think, guys, that they would want us to know about the truth? Obviously not. Wouldn't it be more advantageous for the elite and the Illuminati, the Freemasons, these different oligarchical figures? Wouldn't it be more advantageous for them if we were merely just like shrouded in ignorance, guys? Obviously it would be more advantageous for them. That's why I think so, guys, that we are like merely like sheep and they are like the shepherds, and we always get pushed down the wrong path, taken towards the wrong end. And so I think that's what's going to really like be our undoing in the end, guys. I think so. But really, if you think about this so carefully, guys, think about a shepherd, actually, or like any type of farmer or something like that. A shepherd, imagine if the shepherd like wanted the sheep to know everything that's going to happen to them. A shepherd, like the sheep, they're going to be like used as like as a resource, basically. Their wool's going to be taken off their backs, and they're basically going to be turned into like maybe perhaps food as well, like lamb chops or whatever. If you're like a shepherd, would you want your like sheep and like your flock or your stock or like the animals that you control, would you want them to know what's going to happen to them? Obviously not. You would want them to stay in ignorance, basically, so that you can manipulate them more effectively. Hence, that is like the most perfect analogy to use in our situation, our world, in our day-to-day lives, because basically that's what's going on, guys. We are like literally sheep, and there's who's the shepherd then? It's the Illuminati and the Freemasons and the oligarchs and stuff like that. These guys, they basically act as like shepherds, basically, and we're like sheeps, and they manipulate us like so like perfectly and carefully and stuff like that. Just like a shepherd, would a shepherd want the sheep to know what's going to happen to them? Obviously not, because then the sheep are going to start to like slowly like want to like escape from their shackles and stuff like that, and run away from the shepherd. The shepherd has to like make sure the sheep are ignorant, and obviously animals are pretty dumb, so the sheep are going to be like, they're going to like be doomed to kind of like ignorance and all that type of stuff, man. So basically, that's what I'm saying. It's just like that analogy that I'm using, man. Just like a shepherd. A shepherd basically has like a bunch of sheep that he has like a control over and all that type of stuff. Just like a shepherd has like control over its sheep. The sheep, if the sheep knew what was going to happen to them, the sheep would like obviously not accept or tolerate that. The sheep would start to rebel. And basically that's what I'm getting. That's where I'm going with this, right? I think that just like a sheep, basically, we're being like used as a resource, and the elite, the oligarchs, they keep us in like ignorance so that we don't start to panic and start to freak out. If we're being like, just like in the movie The Matrix as well, like if you know about the plot of The Matrix, basically the people in that movie, they're trapped in like a false reality, a false world and all that type of stuff. They don't know any better about what's actually going on with them and what's happening to them. They think everything about their world is real. In actuality, guys, they're used as like a resource. The people in that movie The Matrix, they're used as a resource. And actually, guys, what's happening is that the people in that movie, they're actually just being used as a resource, but they think that they're actually alive in the real world, when in reality they're just like so like trapped in like a simulation. That movie was so sick, man. That movie was actually so sick. I haven't watched it in such a long time now. I haven't watched that movie since ages now. But if you know anything about The Matrix, basically, in that movie, the people in that movie, they thought that they were in like real life, basically, but it was actually a simulation. They were trapped in a false world, in a false reality. Basically, they were ignorant to the fact that they weren't actually experiencing real life. They were in like a simulation. They were in ignorance, and the reason why is because the people that were like manipulating them, controlling them, they wanted to use them as like a resource. And obviously, if these like victims didn't know about it, because they were victims, like the people in that movie, The Matrix, they were like being used as like a resource, but they didn't know it, so they were basically like human commodities. They just didn't know anything. They didn't know any better and all that. They didn't know any better and stuff like that. But in that movie, The Matrix, if the people in that movie, if they knew what was happening to them, they would start to panic and like hesitate and all that. And so basically, that's what I'm really going with this. I think so, guys, that just like in that movie, we're pretty much just like used as like a resource, man. I think that we're pretty much used as like a resource by the oligarchs. We're kept shrouded in ignorance so that we could be manipulated. And obviously, I always talk about this a lot in my videos. Like, it makes so much sense that like a lot of people think that why, if the elite are actually real, why would they want to keep us in ignorance? If you think about it, guys, ignorance, how, like, just like a shepherd has like sheep. If the sheep knew what was going to happen to them, the shepherd wouldn't have as much control or influence over the sheep. Likewise, the elite, the oligarchs, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, they always like lead us down the wrong path. To give us, they keep us in like a state of ignorance. The reason why is because if they knew what was going to, if they basically like, if we knew like what they were doing to us and all that type of stuff, then we would basically start to like panic and all that, and we'd start to rebel against them and all that type of stuff. That's why it's like, it's so much more advantageous, man, that they keep us like in a state of ignorance. Basically, they keep us in like a state of ignorance, because basically if we're ignorant, we can't really like rebel against them and stuff. And that's so much that's so like does that not make more sense that if like ignorance, that's like, think about it carefully, guys. Just like in the movie The Matrix, the people in that movie, they didn't know that they were being used as like a human commodity, basically, that they were like being manipulated, used as like a resource. They thought that they were in like the real world, but they were actually in like a simulation. They just couldn't connect those dots and stuff like that, and they couldn't figure out the fact that they were actually just like a human being used as like a resource, and the people in that movie were manipulating them, using them as like a human resource. The reason why is because they were kept in like ignorance. The reason why is because if they were given the truth, they would start to panic. I think that's so much that relates so much to us as well. We are like existing in like a false reality. I do think so, guys. I think that the elites, the oligarchs that control everything behind the scenes, they give us like all these like false informations, false delusions. The Freemasons specifically, I know that even Albert Pike, who was like a very prominent like member of the Freemasonic Society, he even mentioned as well that the people outside of their organization, the Freemasons, they deliberately lie to you and they take you down the wrong path so that you don't uncover their true colors and secrets. And it's not just the Freemasons, obviously the Illuminati as well, and the Freemasons, man, and the Illuminati and all that type of stuff. They do all these like things behind the scenes, man. It's so insane. They're controlling everything behind the scenes. and we're like, a lot of us are like so ignorant, man. It's actually so like saddening, and so many people would rather stay ignorant about this. Just like a sheep has like, just like a shepherd has like sheep and all that type of stuff. Basically, if we knew like if the sheep figured out what was going to happen to them, the shepherd would lose like his power and his control and his influence. And I think that's so like relevant, man. I think that's so true to like what's happening to us. I think that basically we're kept in ignorance basically and stuff like that, so that the people that are at the top of our society, they can use this as like a resource. Just like how a shepherd doesn't want the sheep to become enlightened, to figure out what's going to happen to them. I think that's what the elite, they keep us in like a very like strong state of like ignorance, man. I think so, 100%. I think so. I think that's so like I think it's so like true, man. Just like in that movie, the Matrix. If you watch that film, the movie The Matrix, basically in that movie, the people in that movie, they're just like a human resource. They're kept as like a resource, and they're so ignorant, they can't connect those dots. And I think that's just like so much the case with us as well. I think that pretty much we're just like kept as like a type of resource, as like we're kept as like a resource, and we're kept in ignorance so that we don't figure out that we're being manipulated. I think that's why reality is like kept a secret. I think so, guys. I don't think that we get given like half of I don't think that we get given like half the truth regarding our planet and its affairs and all that type of stuff. I think that we very much get like a very small amount of like truth, guys. I think so. I think that we get given like such a small nugget of like truth. Pretty much we just get given like a false, a lot of the times we get given like false information, false knowledge, so that we can stay in ignorance. So like the people that are at the top of our society, they can better manipulate us and use us like as a human resource. Just like in the movie The Matrix. In the movie The Matrix, the people in that movie, they were pretty much entrapped in a simulation, but they didn't know anything or know any better. And so the reason why is because why didn't the people that were keeping what people, I don't actually, the plot of The Matrix is that humans are like captured by aliens. I don't know, I haven't watched that film in so long, but if you think about that film a lot more carefully, basically in The Matrix, the people in that film, they were like trapped and like pretty much kept in like a state of like ignorance, and they were like in a simulation. They were trapped. Why weren't they given the truth? Basically, it's because if they were given the truth, they would start to panic, and they would want to figure out a way to escape from that type of like reality. They would want to like escape from the simulation and find the truth, and they would rebel against their controllers and their masters that are controlling them. I think honestly, 100%, I think so. That's why we are always like kept in like a state of ignorance, man. I think so. I think so that if we were given like the complete truth, we would start to panic and start to rebel. We would start to panic and start to rebel. That's why we are always like in a state of ignorance, guys. Reality is kept a secret. I do think so. Do you guys actually think that the people that are like controlling our planet and our affairs, do you think that they would want to reveal everything, show you the true nature of like God and like religion and all that, and talk about it, like especially aliens, UFOs, all these sorts of like different things? Do you think like the people that control our society, they would want to actually reveal this sort of information, that they actually want to help you? A lot of us, we're so ignorant and dumb. We think that the people that control our society, they're looking out for our interests and our personal like benefits and whatever. Do you really think that's the case, guys? Do you really think that's like true, that the people that control everything, they want to help us? Do you really believe in that? It's so nonsensically stupid. If you think about that, guys, if you think like that, if you have that mindset mentality that whoever controls our world, they care about you as a specific person, as like an individual, they care about you, it's so dumb. They only care about their own interests, their own family and bloodline and all that type of stuff, especially, yes, certainly the Illuminati, the Freemasons. They only care about themselves. That makes a lot more, doesn't that make more sense though? Do you actually think that they care about you as a person, as an individual, some random human being? They care about you, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the people that control everything behind the scenes. Do you guys honestly think they care about you? Do you really think so? If they cared about you, think about it. Why is it that it's pretty much been proven right now that the government pretty much like basically lies about like so many different sorts of things, certainly about like black projects. Look into like the whole thing about especially in like the USA and America. I'm in the UK right now, but in the USA and stuff like that, if you think about it, like there's like something called the Black Project, the CIA, all these like groups, these like governmental agencies. It's pretty much been proven that they confiscate, they take certain pieces of information away, and they like hide things away, and they do things behind the scenes, and they sometimes even break the law for their own benefit. Do you think that like whoever like controls our planet and stuff like that really cares about you and stuff like that as a human being, as an individual? I don't think so. I think it's pretty much like I think so. It's been proven, guys, that whoever is in charge of our planet and our affairs and all that stuff, the people that control everything behind the scenes, they don't care about you guys. They don't care about me as well. They only care about their own agendas and interests. And I think so, it's been proven so many times that like these like secret societies, these groups that control everything behind the scenes, the rich families, it's been proven that they manipulate so many different parts of our society, the economics and all that type of stuff, the news outlets, for their own benefit. It's been proven, guys, and so many people are still like very, very ignorant about this. But it's been proven, man. It's literally been proven, man, that whoever like controls our world and our planet, they manipulate things for their own benefits and their own agendas and interests. It's very much been proven, man. Reality is kept a secret. Do you honestly think that whoever controls our planet, they would want to reveal the true nature behind the world? They would want to show you the fact that aliens are real, aliens, UFOs, that there's like a entire like universe, solar system of like different sorts of alien civilizations. They would want to reveal that to you. Do you really think so, guys? It's also been proven all throughout our history, right, that people that like, especially like the oligarchs, the kings and the queens and the rulers, they do things for their own benefit. They don't do it for the benefit of you as an individual human being, as like a member, as like some type of random member of our society. They don't care about you guys. It's been proven all throughout our history that the royalty, nobility, the oligarchs, they only value and care about themselves. They don't care about anyone else. And so do you think that they would want to give you like valuable information regarding our world and its true nature and the reality behind like aliens and UFOs and like extraterrestrials and all that type of stuff, all these like very like insane things? Do you think that they would want to give you like that type of information and show you like everything proper and all that? It's kind of obviously not, because if they did that, they would lose their power and their control and influence over your psychology. That's why they always give you like false knowledge, false information, obviously, so that they can better manipulate you. Just like a shepherd has like sheep. If the sheep knew what was happening to them, the sheep would start to panic. But luckily for the shepherd, the sheep are like very ignorant. The sheep don't know that they're being like manipulated and used as like a resource, and they're being preyed on by some type of like malicious entity, the shepherd, basically. It's so like true, guys, that basically we get like manipulated and all that type of stuff, given like false information and all that, like wrong information and all that type of stuff. It's been pretty much been proven, man, that if you look at like certainly there's so many different things, but certainly if you look at just like look at like these like secret societies, like these different governmental agencies as well, like the CIA and the FBI and all that type of stuff, these different like governmental agencies, and even within the government there's like this, you know, like the Freemasons, like they've also, I think so, there's so many like different people that are part of these like governmental agencies. I think they're also part of these other secret societies and stuff. Do you think these people that are like controlling everything, they would want to give you like the truth, basically? It's so like you'd have to be so ignorant to think like that, to think that the people that control our planet and stuff, they would want to like give you like the truth. They would want to reveal things properly to you. They would want to like give you like the proper, correct interpretation of our world. Obviously, not just like in the movie The Matrix. The people in that movie, they were in a simulation. They were like in a false reality, but they didn't know any better. Obviously, because if they knew, they would start to panic. Likewise, you know, sheep. Imagine if sheep were somewhat intelligent. They had human level intelligence. The sheep would be so like infuriated and the sheep would want to like start to like rebel against the shepherd. Obviously, because they would know that they were being used as like a resource, as like a commodity. They're being turned into like, they're being like manipulated, and they're being used as like some type of biological resource for the shepherds to use, so that they can be like as a food source, or like for the sheep's like fur. Likewise, guys, the people that control everything, You really, guys, do you think that they want to give you the correct interpretation, just like in the movie The Matrix, and there's other movies as well, that the oligarchs, even throughout our history, it's been proven, guys, that the oligarchs, the kings, the queens, the top level elite, they do things for their own benefits. They don't do things for your benefit as a random person as a random member of some type of society. They don't really care about you guys as like some type of low ranking. Like we're basically, if you're not like a part of like the top level elite, you're pretty much just like we're pretty much like I think so, we're like slaves to some extent. Not really slaves, maybe plebs, maybe like a very, what would be like a low level, we're pretty much like what would be the correct terminology? We're basically like freaking, I guess we're like farmers. I don't know, actually, that's not really proper. I think we're pretty much just like a human resource. If you're not a part of the top level elite, just like throughout all, like look at our history, man. The oligarchs, they did things for their own benefit. The oligarchs, if you look through all of our history, the kings, the queens, these different rulers, the khans, the Caesars, the caliphs, whatever you want to call it, they did things basically for their own benefit. They didn't do things for the benefit of like the random members of their society. They only cared about their own interests, and that's so relevant to today, guys. That the whoever is like at the top of our society, the top level elite, these people, they do things for their own benefits, guys. You really think that the people like these Freemasons, the Illuminati, these different like people that are like so sinister and that are a part of these like different organizations and groups, do you think they care about you, some random person that doesn't have any real meaningful influence in the world? Of course not. They only care about themselves. The elite, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, they only value and care about themselves. They don't care about you, some random member of this random, like this society, whatever society. Maybe you might not even be in a, maybe you might be some random person from Africa watching this, I don't know. Do you really think they care about you though? Obviously not, man. They only care about themselves. It's so important that you understand this, guys, that you're like the people that control everything, just like all throughout our history, they do things for their own benefits, for their own interests. Do you think that they would want to give you like the truth regarding like our world and its politics and its affairs, especially regarding like aliens and UFOs and maybe perhaps some other types of controversial topics? Do you think that they would want to care, they would properly want to care about you, and they would actually value you and try and give you the truth? Obviously not. It's been proven, guys, all throughout our history that the people that the oligarchs, the top level elite, they do things for their own benefits, for their own benefits and their own agendas and interests. They don't do things for your favor, If you're like a random person in like some type of society, they don't care about you, man. That's what I'm basically saying. The people that control everything, they don't care about us, man. They don't want to give you the truth. Obviously not, because if they did that, then they would lose their control and influence over you and all that type of stuff. It's so mind-boggling to me that so many people, they don't realize this, right? Look at our history, guys. The elite, the top level elite, the oligarchs, the different rulers, they didn't care about the people in their society and stuff. They only cared about themselves. They only were concerned about like their own personal agendas and interests. They didn't care about anyone else. And so henceforth, if you were like a person in like some type of medieval society, you were pretty much a slave to like the king or the ruler or the caliph or the sultan, whatever you want to call it. The people that controlled these like societies in the Middle Ages, they didn't care about you. Likewise, still today, that's the same thing, guys. It's still the same today, that the people that are at the top of our society, they don't really care about you guys. They just see you as like a resource, just like in the movie The Matrix. In the movie The Matrix, the people in that film, they were just a resource, basically used for like whoever was like you manipulating them. I haven't watched the movie The Matrix. The Matrix is so like it's so mind-bendingly hard to understand. I don't know, but especially if you haven't watched it in such a while. But the movie The Matrix, guys, just like in that movie, we're just a resource. Just like in the Middle Ages, the kings, the queens, they controlled everything. They were manipulating the masses, the plebs, the people that were in these sorts of medieval societies. They didn't know any better. They couldn't properly understand what's going on about their situation, because they were kept in like a state of ignorance. The kings, the queens were like manipulating everything so precisely and perfectly. Literally, imagine being like some random person in a medieval society. The kings, the queens, the people that are at the top of that society, they control everything. They control they control like like what type of information gets given to like the masses. They control just like back then, just like how it is now. The people that control, like you honestly think things have changed since the Middle Ages? Obviously not, man. Obviously not. Just like in the Middle Ages, and if you're like a person in like a medieval society, they think that you would be given like the proper, correct information regarding whatever. Obviously not, man. The people that were controlling those medieval societies, the kings and the queens, they did everything in their own favor, and they tried to manipulate the masses so that the masses couldn't figure anything out correctly on their own. Just like in the Middle Ages, man. You really think it's changed a lot since like the time of the Middle Ages. It hasn't at all. It's still the same today, guys. It's still the same today that we're still being just like we were back, just like the people in these medieval societies, we're still being manipulated, guys. We're still being controlled. We're still being like given like false information and all that type of stuff, man. The people in these like in these medieval societies, they didn't know any better. They were being controlled by the kings and the queens. They were being manipulated, given false information, controlled, used as like pawns, and they had no clue, because the kings and the queens would control everything. The kings and the queens, if you analyze any type of medieval society, basically the kings and the queens, they controlled everything. Basically the news, what certain books get printed, the kings and the queens had some like total level of control, and the people in these like medieval societies, they didn't know that they were slaves. And it's still the same today, guys. Do you think it's really changed that much? The news, the media, do you think that's like completely untainted? Obviously not. The people that control like all these like different sorts of like media, like organizations, social media, whatever like types of like news outlets, the people that control these sorts of things, the people that control like the TV and the social media, the YouTube, they think they don't have their own agendas and interests. You think they really want to give you the complete truth? Obviously not. That's why if you go on YouTube, you're always like seeing certain things. You're not seeing like everything. Like they're like I remember when I was a lot younger, there was all these like Illuminati conspiracy theory videos on YouTube. It's all got taken down. Do you think that's a coincidence, guys? Obviously not, because the people that control YouTube, they have their own agendas and interests. They don't want you to know the truth. Basically, they only want you to see things in a very certain way. Just like in the medieval societies, if you look at any type of medieval society, the kings and the queens, they had like a total level of control over those sorts of medieval societies. And the people that were in these societies, they were so ignorant and stupid. They didn't know that they were basically slaves, and that they were shrouded in ignorance, and they didn't know any better. And obviously not, because the people that were controlling these medieval societies, the kings, the queens, they only cared about their own agendas and interests. They didn't care about the random people in their societies. So, you know, just like that, do you think it's really changed, guys? It's obviously, it hasn't. Things it's still the same as it was in the Middle Ages, guys. The people that are at the top of our society, they care about their own agendas and interests. They don't care about you as like some random person in their society. Like, do you think that the people that control the telly, the YouTube, and whatever, do you think they want to? Do you think they would really give you the complete truth about our world? Obviously not. You're always going to get given like a certain like limited interpretation, a certain like piece of information. You're not going to get given the complete truth. Obviously not, because it wouldn't be advantageous for the elite, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, whoever is actually controlling our planet. Why would they want the people, just like in the Middle Ages, the kings and queens, why would they give the plebs, the masses, like the truth? Obviously it wouldn't be advantageous for a king to like tell like some type of like slave like person to know that he's a slave, to give him like any type of information about our world. It wouldn't be advantageous. Likewise, you can see, guys, still today, that just like it was like how it was in the Middle Ages, today, guys, we're still the same. It hasn't changed at all. The people that are at the top of our society, they twist things around, guys. They do things for their own favor. It's been proven so many times, man. But so many of you guys are probably so ignorant and dumb about this. It's been proven so many countless times, man, that the people, whoever's at the top of our society, they do things for their own favor. They don't do things for the benefit of you, whoever you are that's watching my videos. Guys, it's so insane. The people that like just like how it was in the Middle Ages, the kings, the queens, they do things for their own benefit. They don't do things for the benefit of you, for the benefit of like some random person in their society. They only care about their own interests. It hasn't changed, guys. Reality is kept a secret, man. Whoever's like at the top of our society, whoever's controlling our planet and its affairs and the politics and all that type of stuff, obviously they only care about themselves. They don't want to reveal the truth to you, whoever you are that's watching my videos. If they did that, they would lose their type of like manipulation, their control over you. It must be understood, guys, that we live in like a freaking fantasy world. Like, reality is kept a secret deliberately so that we can be better manipulated, and so that whoever is controlling our planet, they can like use us as like a type of resource, and they can manipulate us more efficiently and effectively. Just like in the Middle Ages, in the medieval societies, the people in those medieval societies, they were pretty much more or less like slaves, and they didn't know anything, because the kings and the queens would like deliberately keep people like shrouded in ignorance. I think that's typically, perhaps there might have been like certain kings that were like very like humanitarian. They cared about people, those types of kings and queens are very rare. I think most kings and queens were like very manipulative and vindictive and psychopathic and selfish, and they only cared about their own interests. They weren't like humanitarian. That's like so important for you guys to understand that. People, just like how it was back then in the Middle Ages, it's still the same today, guys. Whoever's like at the top of our society, they only care about themselves. They don't care about you at all. They only value themselves. Do you really think the people that control everything, our world, our politics and everything like that, do you think that they would give you the truth regarding our world and what and etc.? Obviously not. They deliberately keep you shrouded in ignorance, guys. It's all done on purpose so you don't figure out the truth. You really think the people that control everything, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, do you think that they would give you the truth regarding our world? Obviously not. Everything about our world's like is so like controlled, so like tainted, so like badly like damaged and altered by the elite, where reality, I think we're nowhere near close to the truth, guys. I think so 100%. I think that we're so far away from knowing anything proper about our world, and it's obviously done that. Everything's like it's done that. It's made this way on purpose. I think so. The Illuminati, the Freemasons, they do it all of this stuff on purpose. They deliberately manipulate us on purpose so that we don't know any better, and so that we get kept shrouded in ignorance, guys. Just like in the Middle Ages, the kings, the queens, it would have not been advantageous for them to tell the random people in their society about what's actually going on, about like who they are actually, and how these kings and these queens, they're manipulating things for their own benefit. It wouldn't be advantageous for these kings and queens in these medieval societies to reveal that to the public. Likewise, still today, guys, it's still the same today, that the Illuminati, the Freemasons and all that type of stuff, they still keep everything a secret behind our backs. And just like how the kings and the queens in the Middle Ages were doing it, it's still the same today. Man, the leaf just blew on my freaking lens. What the hell? Yeah, it's not. It probably hasn't damaged anything. GoPros are like made to be like beat up anyway. I'm gonna be so much more careful, guys. Freaking leaves falling out. Anyway, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, whoever is controlling our society, do you think that they would want to give you the complete truth? Obviously not. If they gave you the complete truth, they would lose their control over you. Just like a shepherd. Like, imagine if the sheep knew what was going to happen to them. The sheep would start to like panic and rebel against the shepherd. Likewise, guys, us human beings, we're like a type of resource, and whoever's controlling us at the top is like doing everything so perfectly that we're like so like we're just in a state of ignorance, and we don't know any better. It's all done on purpose, guys. It's all like deliberate. Everything's being manipulated so carefully and properly by the oligarchs, these like people that control everything at the top. And we're shrouded in ignorance. We're so like I don't think we're anywhere near close to like knowing the truth about anything, guys. I think that we're just shrouded in ignorance is so like horrifying, man. We're shrouded in ignorance, and just like in the Middle Ages, the people in the Middle Ages, they didn't know any better. They didn't know that they were like trapped in ignorance, basically. They didn't know that they were just like being manipulated, used as pawns. They had no clue about that, because the kings and the queens would like keep everything like hidden away and secretive. Likewise today, I think so, guys. It's still the same today. That we're still kept in like a state of ignorance. We're so like lost. We don't know anything about our world, anything proper and anything like that. It's all just like we're just like kept in like a state of ignorance, man. And it's like so kind of like horrifying that a lot of us, we don't really want to try and escape from these like confines and escape away from being ignorant. We don't want to bother with like trying to become a little bit more enlightened. Just like in the Middle Ages, guys, do you think the people in these like medieval societies, they knew the truth about their world and their reality? Obviously not. They were kept in like a state of ignorance on purpose so that the people that were at the top, they would manipulate them better and control them better. It's still the same today, guys. We're still being controlled, manipulated. Nothing's changed, guys. Reality is kept a secret, guys. It's all on purpose as well, guys, so that they can keep you in like a state of ignorance. It's still the same, man. It's still the same as it was back then. Nothing's changed, guys. It's still the same thing that's going on, that's happening. It's still the same. You think anything's really changed from the middle, from the past? It's all still the same, guys. The same people, the same secret societies, groups, or maybe not the same people. That's obviously dumb, because obviously the people back then probably dead now. But still, the bloodline still continues. Though these secret societies are still here. The Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Bilderbergs, all these people, these groups and organizations, they're still here. They're still the same types of groups and organizations as they were back then in the past. It's all, we're being manipulated so carefully and properly. It's like so bewildering. But really, guys, I hope you think about this so carefully.